Three stripes in the mushroom cloud.
Hello and welcome to episode number 47 of Unrelenting for Friday, October 21st, 2022, otherwise known as the new Taylor Swift album day. Yeah, we're getting Gene on board.
Oh my God, I never thought the day would come.
That you would listen to something and go, what is that? It's actually good.
This is pretty good. What is this shit? Yeah.
Yeah, she's getting old. She will be 33, if I'm not mistaken, in December. Mm-hmm. Which when you go by, somebody came up with that theory that the perfect age for a woman is half your age, I think, plus 7. That will finally be where Taylor Swift, we're finally
half your age plus 7
years, right?
Yes, okay. That I could see that because what is it? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Gene does math live on a
22.
podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Ironically, that is exactly the age that my ex-wife was when I married her.
Well, you see, there you go. That was the age difference. Half your age.
Isn't that nuts?
Plus 7. That's it. So Taylor and I are finally on the right course.
Yeah. Yeah. But then eventually it flips over to minus 7. That's what I realized.
Probably at some point.
The half your age minus 7.
That's whatever works.
Mm-hmm.
Math is not easy. Things are hard. People don't understand.
It's just, you just got to come up with a formula that always ends in 22 being the right age. And then you're pretty much golden.
That's where the bracket begins. Well, that's where the kids, there was a story. I thought this was really interesting. I wanted your take on this one because it's the New York Post.
As a kid, I get it.
Right.
Sure.
Kindergartners. So that age, whatever that is.
5.
Like 5 years old. Is that the same in Russia? Because it's kindergartners in Russia.
6
are learning how to use AK-47s and grenades. And I'm thinking that's way healthier than the trans shit they're trying to do here.
That's way older than we learned how to use AK-47s and grenades.
Really? When did you learn how to use the
5?
Really? They were like, here's your gun, go out there.
No, that's what playground used to be in a day and time when wokeness wasn't floating around the air.
Well, you could play.
Young boys played with guns.
Yeah, well, first, it started mainly with like cowboys and Indians, and then I guess you did move on to the harder stuff.
Yeah, and for us, it was, Nazis and the good guys.
And the people, of course, from the New York Post, even though they're not the New York Times when it comes to wokeism, but it's like they're distressing
I thought the
footage.
Post was the conservative New York paper.
Yes, according to them, though, this is still distressing footage that there dare be a army dude in a classroom explaining the weapons to the children. I'm like, I think that's probably healthy.
In the U.S., we didn't have this in kindergarten. We did have this in junior high, 100% in the all the way up through the 70s.
Where there was
the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
Well, you learn. I mean, I don't know about AK-47s,
either
guns.
Well, no, but there were AR-15s.
Yeah. And I don't understand why this would be distressing footage. It's way more distressing.
Because these people are insane. They're afraid of guns.
Well, that's it. It's a tool. And these are the same people that refuse to understand that a gun is, when it comes down to it, no more deadly than the car you're driving.
Start a video podcast thing on YouTube and call it Tool Time.
There you go. You could be Gene the Tool Man. Tulio. I don't know if this doesn't.
Although I'm more like the one with the beard, but
you just want Pam Anderson as your sidekick.
She's all right. She's all right.
Back in the day before she plasticized.
Oh yeah, way before. Yeah, back in the, she was. I think she was born in Canada, but she lived in Minnesota for a while,
which is basically Canada light.
Essentially. But the reason I know that is because she did local TV ads.
And you're like, I like that ad.
And I'm like, oh, it's a cute girl. And then all of a sudden she starts to actually get into Scientology and makes it big. And I was like, wow, okay. She's getting more and more like a Barbie doll looking.
Yes.
But she was quite cute when she was in her Well,
she was
like,
adorable when she was younger.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, let's get into producer mode for a minute. There are some people that can use a little adjusting here and there.
These people just shouldn't be seen.
I was trying to be nice.
Yeah, just be indoor people. Don't go out.
Now, some of those people, get a little work done, but not when you're starting with near perfection. Why?
Yeah. No, she was very good. I suspect she had really low self-esteem because she got into both Tony Robbins and Scientology.
So you're looking for answers in places that you really should.
Or maybe another way of saying it is you're very susceptible to other people's opinions. And when somebody says, yeah, you got it going on, if only you had slightly bigger breasts.
Uh-huh. Well, then a little bigger.
Oh, maybe just a thinner stomach, just get a little more hourglass going. Maybe some hip implants. That'd be great.
Well, yeah, if you got in touch with a great surgeon, they can keep recommending things.
Mm-hmm.
But they are both cults. And I know a lot of people get stuff out of the Anthony Robbins and the, I guess, out of the Scientology because a lot of people do it. But
it's funny, too, because Tony Robbins, who I've met personally a number of times, I've been to his the big event thing.
The big event.
What the hell it's called? It's the one that most people go. It's not like his small, expensive, exclusive events. I haven't gotten to any of those. I just went to the big one. But
so you got the big one from Tony
other
Robbins.
places.
I got you.
Yeah, it's the one where you walk on fire.
Yes. Yeah. What a scam is that?
It's not a scam. I burned my foot, man. That was not a scam. Believe me. I mean, it's all right. It's not that big a deal, but
see, what people don't understand is you have daily pedicures and you have 3 Korean women that put lotion on your feet, and you're not the normal person.
I do not have Korean women putting lotion on my feet. Come on, man. What the hell?
No, who is doing it now? You're not doing it yourself.
Nobody's doing it right now. That's why I have to go to Mexico.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And by the way, if anybody's curious on how the whole firewalking thing works, first of all, you're not walking on a fire. You're walking on coals.
Yeah.
Coals are actually hotter than the fire is, but they're not. They're also very good insulators, and because coals are they could be really hot inside. And they're only slightly hot on the outside. They're certainly not cool on the outside, but they're slightly hot on the outside. So if you take a coal and you break it in half, you can see it's glowing red. But on the outside, it might only be 200 degrees. Inside, It's like 600 degrees.
Which is how it keeps the temperature going.
That's why coals last a long time in a fire, right?
And you're supposed to be nimble and not really stand. You're supposed to keep moving.
Yeah, you're supposed to keep moving, don't stop. And what they do, and I this is genius part, because I didn't realize why this was happening. It was annoying when it did happen, is they have the coals set up outside in the parking lot. So everybody has to get up from the convention center, walk out to the parking lot. What they have you do is take off your shoes and socks and everything and walk barefoot for a good quarter mile from the convention center to where the coals are. And I thought, well, this is stupid. Why don't we just wear our shoes and take them off right when we get there? There's a reason for it.
There's
2 reasons. It is totally prep work. Because what you're trying to do is 2 things. 1, get all the moisture off your feet. And the reason you don't want moisture is because you don't want the steam burn on your feet. And the second reason for it is because you want to accumulate dust, dirt, and gunk on your bottoms of your feet.
Extra insulation.
Extra insulation. These are all things that are going to be layered onto the actual skin. So this is the easiest thing for people to do that have that walk barefoot all the time. Anyway, that have a little more calloused bottoms of their feet. It's going to be the hardest to do for people that have 3 Korean women putting lotion on their feet.
Right. You're like, this is no bueno.
Yeah. When your soles of your feet are as soft as a baby's butt, you're going to be in trouble doing a firewalk. But essentially what you're counting on is that if your feet are totally dry, you're not going to get any steam burns, and you're going to be walking on something that's about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can do that because you're placing your foot down for a split second, and then it's going right back up, and then it's going right down again and right back up again. So that oscillating type motion doesn't allow the skin of your feet to get to 200 degrees.
Right. It's the same way you can move your fingers through a flame of a candle.
Or if you have hot water turned on in the faucet, and if you just swoosh your hand through the water, you're not going to get scalding burns, but you're going to feel that, oh, this is fucking hot water. But if you put your hand and hold it under the hot water, you're fucked. Or even not even that hot, but still uncomfortably hot. If you've made some kind of a hot, dish, not a hot dish, not the dish called hot dish.
Hey, you got a hot dish. Let me tell you about Taylor Swift, a real hot dish.
Maybe a hot dish would work too. But you got something that's clearly very hot, just been cooked, put into the plate that it's going to be served in, and you pick up the plate to bring it from the kitchen to the dining room table. While you're carrying it, you're going, this is hot.
Yeah, but
you're still able to carry it because you're that you can carry it for about 3 seconds before you have to put it down.
Just before you
it's slowly warming your skin. Yeah, because it's warming your skin beyond the comfortable level. And so these are the types of things that you're dealing with when you're doing a firewalk, is that ideally if all that happens, you got dry, ideally calloused feet, it's really not a big deal to walk on it. And the reason I got burned is just an unfortunate accident. Is what happens sometimes is when you step on the coal, when you lift your foot back up, a little chunk of coal may get caught between your toes.
Oh, you don't want that.
And stay on your foot. And that's exactly what happened with me, is that I had a little tiny piece of coal that just kept moving with me and then kept giving off its heat to my foot beyond the comfortable level. But it's not a big deal. It only happens to maybe 1 in 10 people.
And that's the people that Tony Robbins sits there with. No refunds, no exchanges.
No, everybody knows it's voluntary, and you sign a thing that says I'm totally responsible for my own body and doing stupid things.
Yeah, well, it's by far not the dumbest thing most people will ever do.
But I'll tell you what it does do is it releases a tremendous amount of endorphins, which is the whole point of it. It's a very natural high to walk on fire.
Well, because you think it is way more dangerous than it is, which is the whole idea.
Right.
It's to make it seem like you're doing something superhuman when the reality and the physics say
it's not. I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not that big a deal.
It's like magic. It's made to look way more impressive than it is.
Well, I mean, yes, in some ways it is, but it's really just physics.
Now, see, Brooklyn in the troll room wants to know if you also had to sleep on a bed of nails. I think you do.
I've never done that.
Really?
I've never done that. The secret to that is simply pounds per square inch.
Yeah, distribution.
It's so for a big 300-pound guy, you got to have a lot of nails,
and you don't want to jump on it. Yeah, you want to
versus like 100-pound, skinny dude.
And you don't want anybody to jump on top of you.
Oh, you can. It's all about. I mean, I've watched enough people doing this.
Well, I mean, you have that thing in your basement.
Well, no, I don't. I got rid of that. I had sold that in the garage sale.
Oh, I didn't know. Sorry.
Yeah. But no, I have seen enough people doing this, and it including laying on a bed of nails and then putting a cinder block on top of the person's chest, and then having somebody whack it with a hammer,
right,
with a giant sledgehammer to crack the cinder block while they're laying on a bed of nails.
It's very Brian Brushwood.
Oh, I just bumped the mic. That's very unprofessional of me.
Come on, Gene. I thought you were like a number one podcaster guy.
Yeah, I was taking a drink of. Well,
I can see
I am producing another podcast while I'm talking on this one. So,
well, there you go. So I can see why Adam Curry never got you the podcasting license. You have not passed the test properly yet. Not professional
Oh, no.
podcaster. You're still like in the minor leagues. You're still in training.
Yes, podcaster in training. That's me.
Now I can either go back and edit that sound in the post, or
Leave it in because I talked about it.
or make it sound like you knocked over a 3,000
Don't
cans.
do either. And I know you won't because you're a lazy bastard. So you're
Yep.
not going to take the time to do anything.
You have a point. That's the
Uh-huh.
that's the ongoing bit with Adam Curry on the No Agenda show. Oh, I'll fix that in post. It's like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't.
Exactly.
I want to know, has ever anything been fixed in post ever?
No, I don't think so. I'm not aware of
It
anything.
ruins the vibe. What happens,
It's,
happens.
I mean, I'm a believer that post is where podcasts get made, but I am of the minority opinion on this. I hate to see anything go out without having gone through a rigorous amount of.
You like the NPR thing?
I do appreciate a nice, clean sound.
Yeah, without anybody slamming the microphone.
No,
Oh,
no
geez.
disruption.
What's going on, Gene?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just good. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to get to the show.
What is that background sound?
That's me hitting my microphone
No, but beyond that, it sounds like your chair is making noise.
with the that.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
That's just me touching the foam ball on the microphone.
Oh, okay. Got it.
These are all the sounds your microphone
Well,
can
you'll
make.
I don't know if you listen. You probably don't listen to Sir Gene Speaks, but the last episode, or the new episode that's going to be coming out today, which was recorded earlier in the week.
It's amazing that the podcasts are recorded earlier than when they're released.
I know, right? I don't release them the same day usually. I usually take a little while, but I'll give you a little sneak hint into anybody that's curious to listen in and go, what the fuck? My co-host on that show, for the last time, I'm done with them. I'm getting rid of them.
Wow, dude
But
named Ben?
Dude named Ben. Yeah, getting rid of them off of Sir Gene Speaks, and now we're just going to be on our own podcast.
The good old Blues Brothers boys.
That's the one, the good old Blues Boys. And he had the wrong mic selected
Uh-oh.
and was very insistent that he was on the right mic.
And he's
So
on the laptop
We did the whole
microphone.
show on the laptop mic. Yep, that's exactly right. The whole show is recorded on the laptop mic.
Oh, that's going to
So
sound like crap.
So yes, it does sound like crap. I've done some audio editing magic to make it sound less crappy. But in my ears, it absolutely sounded like crap with constant stuff like this.
Oh, yeah, because those microphones pick up every little bump.
Every time he touched the keyboard on his fucking laptop, there was noise. And I kept, I don't know. Anyway, he texted me like after the episode, oh, I had the wrong mic select. I'm like, no shit, Brainiac.
Hey, not everybody
It's
can
too
have a
funny.
high quality sounding podcast. We were going to dinner with my parents the other day. So rather than
Mhm.
watching my buddy Bill O'Reilly on the big TV as we normally do, they released the same thing as an MP3. And I swear
Okay.
he needs somebody to help him with the sound, because even my wife
Why
is
don't
like,
you reach out, man?
I
You
should.
can help him.
be like, dude,
Doesn't he live over by your?
no, he's in New York.
Oh, he is. Oh, I thought he was in Chicago for some reason.
Nah, he's a New Yorker.
Hmm.
He's been everywhere at one point or another.
I thought
it seems.
are they only allowed the O apostrophe people in Boston and Chicago?
Yeah, I know he lived in Boston for a while. I
Uh-huh.
think there's some in New York too.
Really? They let the Irish in New York.
Yeah, I
finally.
think there's a few Irish in New York.
Okay.
Maybe not the
All right.
same percentage that is in Boston or Chicago.
Hey, are you prepared for all the new Ukrainians coming over?
No, where are they coming? I mean, I hear the Ukrainian women are quite fetching.
they are, but they've already been purchased. No, it's
Whoa.
all you're gonna.
Yeah, they're not going to make it all the way out here. See, that's the problem.
Chicago.
We're getting
I
a
think
bunch
they
of
might.
guys named Igor and Ivan.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting the guys that managed to sneak out.
Wearing
of,
dresses.
Yeah, wearing dresses because. Oh God! Wasn't there a movie? There was a movie. It was what was it called?
Yeah,
Jack
that movie.
Lemmon.
There was a movie called
It was
something
with
at some
Jack
point.
Lemmon, where he's wearing a dress. Where he's in drag. What is that movie called?
You're asking for old Jack Lemmon. I mean, this is where you're showing your age.
I know, right? I was like, oh, this is a great movie. I remember when this thing came out. It was awesome.
It's like,
yeah, it was. Well, the irony was it was Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis, who actually was gay. And the movie was called what?
What was it called?
Some Like It Hot. Some Like It Hot. That's what it was.
And some sweat when the heat is on.
Have you not seen Some Like It Hot?
I do not recall
really
seeing that.
Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis.
I've gotten that idea that it's Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon. Some Like It Hot. And now I've got to see when this
1960 came out in 60.
I was just looking. No, 1959.
Do you not remember that?
No, I was negative 11 at the time.
Oh okay.
It did get an 8.2 out of 10 though on the IMDb database.
Oh, that's okay.
You're also forgetting that Marilyn Monroe was in it. So now we're questioning a lot of things that you remembered. Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis in dresses, but so Marilyn Monroe not in your mind at all.
She was also in a dress, which is less interesting than Marilyn Monroe without a dress. But the unusual thing was this was one of the first movies, one of the first mainstream Hollywood movies to showcase transvestitism.
Ah.
Yeah.
This is where the trans issue started.
Sure, yeah.
The storyline: after two Chicago musicians, Joe and Jerry,
that's why I brought it up. Chicago
witnessed the St. Valentine's Day massacre. They want to get out of town. Well, I bet if you were a part of Al Capone having people mowed down. Not since Scarface, so much action. Not since the Marx Brothers, so much comedy. Not since the 7-Year Itch, so much Maryland. Now, that was the tagline for the...
Yeah.
They don't write taglines like that anymore, I don't think.
No, they just say, not since we made this movie last time 12 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the current tagline, in case you didn't get it there.
So, Some Like It Hot. I mean, hey, everybody watch that. Then we'll talk about it next time.
That's the Chicago movie. Chicago. Anyway. So I've been playing some video games, one in particular lately.
That's hard to believe. You playing video games? I don't believe it.
I know. And that is Cyberpunk 2077.
What is that?
It is an awesome freaking game, man. It is absolutely beautiful. It is one of the most gorgeous video games I've seen. And I've played some gorgeous video games. So Cyberpunk is a genre. It's a subgenre, I guess, of kind of sci-fi-ish, but it's not technically, I don't think, would be classified as sci-fi, because Cyberpunk is essentially high-tech dystopian future series of books. And originally... well, actually, I don't want to be wrong, so I don't know who coined the term, but I know Gibson wrote Neuromancer and a few other books that really kind of brought it to mainstream attention. And there have since been quite a few books within the genre of cyberpunk. But the game Cyberpunk is following, I think, a 1980s original video game storyline about a future where technology prevails. So for anyone that does play video games, I would encourage you to check this game out on Steam or on PSP or whatever platform you like. Because originally when it came out, it was highly anticipated. It was in the works for about 7 years. And then there's a huge amount of disappointment because it was full of bugs. Well, I took the advice of some of the YouTubers when it came out about a year and a half ago, which was don't play it now. Wait for them to fix the bugs before you play it. You'll have a much better time.
So waiting a year and a half to get a better experience.
Well, and I mean, here's the justification is game studios generally release games before they're ready. That's just reality of the way things work currently.
Oh, yeah, especially now with the interwebs. They figure, if it's kind of playing, release it.
Yeah, just put it out there because they've done all the promotions. They've got their dates set. They want to make their marks for a particular quarter of the year financially, regardless of what's happening in development. And quite often, developers are notoriously bad at estimating how long things take. I've noticed from personal experience running multiple software companies that if you ask a developer for their most accurate guess on how long a particular part of the project is going to take, it's very safe to double it, and that won't be enough time.
They always think they're way better than they are.
Oh, it's not a question of better. It's they always somehow forget about the worst case scenario and only think about the best case scenario. And so that's a very easy formula. Double it and then add 7 years.
Right. Just like The Perfect Woman.
Maybe it's a universal thing.
I think it could be.
Yeah. So these games either are notoriously delayed or they come out on time, horribly buggy, or both. Another game that I played quite a bit of, which is Star Citizen, is now over 10 years in the making, and it still hasn't out. It's still in alpha. So probably be another 5 years minimum before it's even remotely has a chance of coming out. But anyway, about Cyberpunk. So that's kind of the genre of the game. It is, if anyone's seen the cartoon Akira from 1990, 91.
Well, at least we're getting closer to current day. I mean, we started as a movie from 1969.
Come on. 59.
Or 59, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's Akira is very much part of that kind of genre. It's a city of neon where the rich elites run everything. The government is effectively controlled by corporations in very oligopolistic, and the scrappy or the hero of the game or the book is generally a scrappy underdog just trying to live life and edge their way out of dire poverty and lower classes. So that's kind of the setting. The actual gameplay of the game is very similar to Grand Theft Auto, where you have a huge, I want to say it's probably about a 64 square mile area that you can play in.
Right. So a big area.
Big, huge map.
And you get missions, little segmented things.
Yeah. Yeah, you get missions from different characters in the game. There's a main storyline set of missions. There are a whole bunch of side missions. And, you've got guns that you use. You can drive cars, motorcycles.
Can you sell the guns to Ukraine?
You can sell the guns to Ukraine. Absolutely. That's part of the game.
And they send the Ukrainian women back then.
There are plenty of pretty hot characters. And the thing that makes it interesting and part of the cyberpunk genre is that because it's future and it's a little dystopian, people have gone full cyborg, meaning it's very easy and encouraged to replace those parts of yourself that you feel are not as good as you'd like them to be. And so people have ocular implants that let you see and zoom in. It's like having binoculars built into your head.
Yeah, I could use that.
Yeah. Could you now?
Uh-huh.
Would you like to be a cyborg?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. I mean, it's like if they come out with, hey, we have the eye replacement. Dude, give it to me. I don't care.
Well, if you played this game, you could put them in.
In the game, yes.
In the game.
Reality would be better.
Well, yeah, but you got to start somewhere.
It's not like, is it 7 of 9 from Borg? That.
Yeah, it looks like that. Exactly right. The character that I made looks very much
Jerry Ryan-esque in.
Well, it's not who I modeled it after. The character that I'm playing, I modeled after what's her face?
Good old what's her face?
You know who I'm talking about.
Scarlett Johansson.
That's the one.
See, that's,
Yes,
that's
exactly
more right down your list. I can tell you.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, I guess you finally know me well enough. You can guess by me saying what's her name. You know exactly that I'm talking about Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, and it's scary because it would not be in my top 3, but I'm with you.
Right. But that's who I prefer to play as, I guess.
Well, I mean, she did look good as Black Widow in one of those early. I'm sure she looked good in some of the later ones.
And another movie that she was in that was in that genre of cyberpunk was Ghost in the Shell.
I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, it's a mediocre movie. It's much better anime.
Yeah,
but it is. Yeah, she's notorious for being in crappy things.
Hey, she gets paid.
She does get paid. I think she was for a couple of years there. She was the highest paid actress in Hollywood,
and it will bring in the male audience.
Yeah, guys like her. I liked her pretty much since day one. I liked her when she was in that one movie.
The one, yeah.
With Bill Murray.
About the airport.
Lost in Translation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was, I think, her first big movie that she was in. And she was just playing a very normal 22-year-old.
And did we see breaking news? Bill Murray's a dick. I mean, why is that a surprise to anybody?
Bill Murray's not a dick. He's a nice man.
Well, that's what they're saying. He's nice to everybody that's not having to work with him, which I think is hilarious.
Well, that means he's a nice man who is opinionated in his craft.
Yes. No, I agree.
That doesn't mean he's a dick.
I just think it's funny that all these stories end up coming out, and it's like, come on.
Well, there's plenty of people that he had gotten on the wrong side of. I mean, Harold Ramis and him were very much at odds. What's his name? The other guy.
Dan Aykroyd?
I don't remember if Dan Aykroyd and him were on the outs or not. It could have been, but I know that there were quite a few folks that he had worked with that were from that original crew. John Candy.
I think it was Aykroyd that came up with the nickname the Murricane.
Oh yeah, okay, so Aykroyd did, but you don't know anything about Aykroyd's real life, right? Because he's super private. All we know is what he was in front of a camera. Bill Murray, we have a ton of images of him and a ton of stories just being like a dude that shows up in the bar and has drinks with people and pays for everybody.
Which is a good time.
Which Aykroyd doesn't do. So who's the dick now?
Oh, I would agree. You don't know. And I just thought it was really interesting that one of the things, and I think it was Rob Schneider saying that he would look at Chris Farley with disdain. And it's like, well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was best friends with John Belushi, who went down the exact same path, and Farley was going down that path. So why wouldn't you look at the guy with disdain and be like, dude, you're going to kill yourself? And he did.
And he did. Yeah. But I think that's part of the deal. When you sign up as the fat dude on Saturday Night Live,
you're going to go.
They give you 6 years to live, at which point then you'll be dead.
So you'll be famous, you'll have a good time, and then you're going to be dead.
Yeah, I mean the string of dead fat dudes. See, fat guys shouldn't do cocaine. Is the bottom line.
Well, yes, because your heart just can't take it.
As good as coke is, kids, you shouldn't do it.
What you should be doing at that point is going to a cardiologist and taking your cholesterol meds and your blood pressure meds and leaving the cocaine.
Now, I understood that cocaine, I was told cocaine was a very good cholesterol medicine.
Is that it?
Back in the day, that has proven not to be the case in the current years.
Hey, it'll clear your arteries right out, man.
But back in the 80s, man, there's nothing that coke wouldn't solve.
It'll explode your heart.
Uh-huh.
But you'll really enjoy it while it's happening.
Candy. Farley, that new guy's probably going to die.
Good old new guy.
There's just, it's you can't do it. And let's just say I'm not completely unfamiliar with the substance. And uppers in general are fucking good. All right. I don't know why people take downers. That to me never made any sense.
Well, if you take too many uppers,
yeah,
then you take a downer.
No, there's really no such thing.
You want to balance that out.
I mean, if you take too many uppers, then you just, you can rip trees out of the ground with your bare hands.
We do not give medical advice on Unrelenting.
There's no medical advice. This is all just comedy we're doing. These are bits. I've never done any drugs. But unfortunately, because of the few people that manage to not handle their illegal substances very well, these substances are given a bad rap.
Well, some are way worse than others, like fentanyl. There's really no good amount of fentanyl.
There might be. I don't know. I've never done fentanyl, but there could be. I'm not willing to say that it's completely bad.
It's an interesting.
You never know.
It's an interesting thing because I put the whole pot thing in the same category as people who like to drink. And drinking, of course, very legal.
What, the Irish?
Yeah, well, yeah, anybody that likes to drink. The Irish definitely like to drink. But when you smoke pot or get it whichever way you want, I mean, you can put it in your brownie, you know that your reaction times are impaired and you probably shouldn't be driving a vehicle.
I've talked about this before. I actually did a scientific test of pot or, THC effects on me. And there's no
like
positive
Novocaine,
effect. I'm extremely resistant to it. I take a dose that is 50 times higher than what would be required for a normal person to experience anything.
So what you're saying is you should get together with Snoop because then, as of right now, Snoop Dogg said only one human being has ever outsmoked him, and that was Willie Nelson. You might be able to do it.
Willie Nelson.
Yeah. I mean, Snoop said he got there. The story Snoop told was he got together with Willie once and they start smoking. And he's like, that was the first time in his life where he was just like, no, how the hell are you doing it?
Too funny.
Willie, I think Willie is like 99% THC now.
I think he is. I would agree with him.
He's always smiling. That's for sure.
He's a good man.
I love Willie. And I mean, I know I don't agree with his politics, but I've been listening to Willie Nelson's music because my parents are fans for my whole life. And Willie just doesn't seem like he has a bad word for anybody. And he's always having a good time.
Yeah. I think, compared to the other outlaws, I think he was definitely the most upbeat.
Oh, yeah. There was definitely a mean streak to Johnny Cash and to Waylon and to Chris Christopherson.
Waylon and Chris just about killed each other.
Yeah. But Willie, no.
Oh, Willie got along.
Well, Willie is the one.
That's what pot does. That's why people do pot, is to control the demons.
Well, you are living in Willie City. I mean, that Austin was built by Willie Nelson, and the diversity was pretty much brought in by Willie Nelson.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Well, yeah, but Willie was the first one to where it was like, well, we've got the Hell's Angel biker types and the pot loving, anti-war, anti-everything. When they get together and they like coexist peacefully in a Willie concert.
When I moved to Austin, I told people what Austin was like in a very simple phrase. It's hippies with guns.
Yeah. Or at least there's a mixture there.
It's in the same person. It's literally people that, hey man, anywhere else you would think they're hippies, but they have guns and they like to
blow shit up.
Yeah. And so it is an interesting place, but it's getting ruined by the Californians.
Yeah, don't let those people migrate in.
All the hippies with guns.
Yeah, get rid of the Californians. That is not. I'm like,
it's
what?
Horrible.
If you're from Mexico, you're from El Salvador, you're from Venezuela, come on in.
Come on in. Let's just displace the Californians.
California, no, do not let them in.
If we had to have one wall, it should be on the west side of Texas.
Separate California from the rest of the country.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
No. So in this game, Texas is the Republic of Texas because
why wouldn't
that's the way it ought to be.
Sam Houston in this game?
Well, no, this is all in
I know, it's the
2077,
future.
so that's 50 years in the future. So the thing that's interesting about it is because of the genres, it is a future 50 years from now as envisioned in the 1980s.
So basically like today.
Well, no, because there are flying cars.
Oh, well, there are today. They're just.
But stylistically, everything looks like future vision in the 80s.
So it looks like Back to the Future, what they thought.
Yes, exactly. It looks like Back to the Future. The architectural styles are very interesting. The clothing, there's a lot of retro kind of hot neon colors in the future.
Neon's coming back. Come on.
Oh, it's totally coming back. By 2077, neon's going to be the thing.
That is on my list to rewatch Miami Vice. I really need to do that.
Oh, yeah. The Jan Hammer tunes. I love
that. Really, as far as an instrument, there are some
best
very
fucking music in the world.
Yeah. Well, there's some very catchy television themes over the years that you remember the words, but as far as an instrumental television theme, it doesn't get much better.
No, Jan Hammer's great. Vangelis, all those guys back in the day.
And then you had all the people that were in the show that made the guest appearances, from Uncle Ted to Phil Collins and down the line for the rock stars that showed up. Glenn
and
Frey.
The cars, man, the cars.
Oh, yeah.
So the cars are all future cars in this video game, but they all look like they were designed in 1980.
But do they run on electric or gas?
Mostly gas.
Wait, that can't be.
Well, there are some electric cars. They're mostly construction vans and things, but they run on what looks like hydrogen.
Hydrogen?
So their engines sound like real motors. And it's really cool. There's videos. There's an architect the video that I watched that architect reviews the buildings of the game. There's a video of a car designer reviews the car designs in the game. I'm calling it screenshot simulator. Because I've been taking a shit ton of screenshots in this game because they're just amazingly beautiful. Dystopian, but beautiful. The dark of night, the neon in the streets, the garbage in the streets and the rivers, and the flying cars. It's just like got everything in there. It's a really fun game. You should all check it out if you're a gamer at all. If you're not a gamer, it might still be fun to catch a video on YouTube.
What is the title of it?
Oh, it's Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay, yeah. So if you just type in Cyberpunk game, that's the number one thing popping up.
Yeah, and I think it's because it came out a year and a half ago, and they've literally been tweaking it and fixing things for that long. You get a much better version of the game than people that bought it the day it came out.
Oh, you playing it on the PC or on a machine? On the
PC. I'm a total PC gaming snob. Why buy an $800 video game console when you can buy a $5,000 PC?
Right, with the video cards that'll cost more than
$1,600 is how much I'm going to have to spend next month to upgrade my video card.
That's sad. And then, what are you doing with the old ones?
It's a good question because I do have a few.
See, and this was exactly what I ran into.
I probably should sell them.
Sell them before they're worthless. That's the trick. Because I always put them
technically they're never worthless because they can always mine Bitcoin.
Well, yeah, but not all that
or whatever bullshit currency you prefer these days.
Yeah, which is none right now.
Well, that's a good currency.
It's like that. Well, thanks, Uncle Joe. That's what we have. None. But everything's been relatively stable on the cyber front.
Okay.
On the coinage. Yeah. It really hasn't gone up, and it really hasn't gone way down.
Yeah. So one last thing about the game that I forgot to mention was one of the main things about the game is not only is it like Grand Theft Auto where you're running around shooting different guns and stuff, but you also have this concept of hacking. So because you can hack into computer systems and, do things, take over security cameras, do all kinds of things like that. But because people have computer implants in them for a variety of things like, faster movements with their limbs, they have implanted titanium limbs, and they have implanted eyes and all kinds of things. You can actually hack people in this game.
You can hack people. See, now that is worrisome.
Well, it's a true thing. I mean, if someone's got a pacemaker, even, you could totally. There have been a number of articles written about hacking pacemakers. You can make somebody suicide.
Well, you could also
sending them the right stuff in the pacemaker. Yeah.
So you could just hack into a person. Well, that would make sense. So if you have an ocular implant, you can show them non-reality. If
all these things have interfaces that are used for testing and uploads of new features and whatnot.
So you can make
anything
people
that
hear
has an
voices
interface
in their
is
head.
hackable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now you're actually giving away part of the plot of the game, so don't do that.
Oh, okay. Well,
but it is a fun story. I've probably done about 100 hours into it, and I'm not finished yet. So you get your money's worth from playtime. But anyway, okay. Enough of that gaming.
Cottongen says he hears voices in his head right now. So, I mean, you should worry about that.
That might be a little bit of a hint as to whether or not you're living in reality, my friend.
Yeah. He says they sound a lot like Darren O and Sir Gene. So
that's the worst kind of voices to have in your head.
That's the one's going.
I mean, if you had to really choose, wouldn't you really rather want some other type of voice in your head?
It all depends. Now, do you have like a code so people can play this game with you or find you in this world?
Not at all.
Or is it a multiplayer or is
it's a single player game, as far as I know. It's single player. I don't know. Maybe there is a multiplayer version. I'm playing the single player game. So I don't get anything for talking about it. I paid full price for it. But I'm just sharing because I think it's fun. And I would certainly encourage anyone anyone of the no agenda mindset, of the sort of look at all the shit the government's done and conspiracy theories, and anyone who likes a little dystopian movies, books, is going to really like this game. And the fact that it's just made very beautifully. It's just, I'm walking around literally, like swiveling my head back and forth just to see all the beautiful neon. And the advertising in this game is freaking hilarious. Well, first of all, everything's R-rated, but it is hilarious, like the way they're selling stuff.
Now, the game was created by Konrad Tomaszewski or something like that. Sounds very...
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's the dude that created. He looks like he could be Russian, maybe Ukrainian, though. It's hard to say.
Sounds like a Polish name.
Could be. It's one of those that has way too many letters in it. And it's like, I don't know how to say that. Possibly. I mean, the best coders are Polish.
It says the director is Adam Badowski, which is very Polish.
Konrad
Tomaszewski.
Tomaszewski.
Tomaszkiewicz. The end of it is a ch sound. Tomaszkiewicz.
Yes. His LinkedIn, he is out of Warsaw.
Yeah, there you go. Programmer Piotr Tomczynski. Yeah, they're all Polish. All these names are Polish.
So you love a game by a bunch of Polish guys, and I
love Polish food too, dude.
I heard you don't like the Polish. The Russians and the Poles.
Oh no, I love the Polish. No. It's the Polish that don't love me.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's probably a few.
I have nothing. I mean, Jesus, I'm on a freaking podcast with a Polak here.
Yeah, just half Polish.
Well, half. The better half or the worse half. Yeah.
But nobody knows because when you have a name like O'Neill, then you sound way more Irish. But I love me some pierogi, and I love me some dumplings or some good cabbage.
Yeah,
the Polish food's great.
It is pretty good. I don't know how good it is for you. I think it's fairly cholesterol full.
Well, I mean, if you want to die by 50, that's great for you.
Yeah.
You want to keep the paddles close. I mean, you might want to buy a home.
If you really want to die by 50, just add a little cocaine on top of Polish food.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really all it takes.
You will enjoy every minute, though.
Oh, yeah. No, it is very, because here's the secret of Polish food: fat.
Well, yeah, the secret of most
There's
great
nothing
foods
in Polish food that doesn't have fat in it.
Well, this is
that
true.
I'm aware of.
Which, I mean, if you're on the keto diet, that's great because you can eat that all day long.
Yes, except that the things that are in fat are all carbs.
Yeah, well, that's also the problem because you can't have carbs.
There's a lot of carbs in Polish food. There's some meat, certainly, but plenty of carbs. But no, I have nothing against Poland. I have nothing against Polish food or Polish people or anything. It's just some of them seem to have a thing about me.
That's probably true. And I think it's not just the Polish. But
it's mostly the Polish.
There was a story that Newsmax, which is a very right-leaning organization.
Neocon, I would say.
Yeah, they will no longer let Lara Logan on their airwaves.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out why.
Uh-huh.
I want to figure, I don't even understand what she said that was so crazy, being that the statement that Newsmax came out with was, quote, Newsmax condemns in the strongest terms the reprehensible statements made by Lara Logan, and her views do not reflect our network. We have no plans to interview her again. So that's a pretty good canceling. That is a pretty good canceling. Now,
wow. Wasn't she like banned from a bunch of stuff a couple of years ago?
Yeah. She seems to get banned a lot. Well, she was on Fox with her own web show, which was Lara Logan Has No Agenda, which was talked about a lot on No Agenda.
No Agenda, yeah. In fact, I believe that Adam and John had to send her a little cease and desist.
Yes, and then she moved right down the street from Adam Curry, and now they're buddies. But what she said, again, I still don't understand this, because here's the quote that she made while on with Eric Bolling, another guy who's very to the right. She says, quote, this is a spiritual battle. I am a firm and solid and immovable believer in God, and I believe that God wins. I believe that good is greater than evil, and I believe that the fallen angel, otherwise known as Satan, doesn't get to prevail in this world. Now, okay, that goes on, but I'm still, is anything here so far saying that, good is going to trump evil? That, I mean, I don't see any reason
I would cancel her right there and then.
You talk about God, you're done.
Yeah, pretty much.
She goes on to say, God believes in sovereignty, a national identity, of the sanctity of family, and all the things.
God believes in these things?
That's what she says.
She believes in.
She says
so
God's
believes. Talking through her. Oh, yeah, okay. She's totally needs to get canceled.
God believes in sovereignty.
Yes. God
the national identity of the sanctity of family and all the things.
Well, he does,
that
just not an American one. He believes in the Israeli national identity. Yes.
Perhaps. All the things we've lived with
I've never read anything by God that says he believes in America.
Because America didn't exist.
Oh, I guess not really important enough for God to talk about then. That's
God, come on, give us a quote.
That's a quote.
Yeah.
Damn it, God.
We reached out to God's people and as of yet have not gotten have
not been reached back out. Yeah.
So very sad. This is what he said again. She says, and he knows that the open border is Satan's way.
Wait a minute. God is a
control. Yeah. And
why is God a he?
I don't know, but in this quote, he is not capitalized, which is very sacrilegious too for the right-wing scoop.com where I got this. But yes, this is all, Satan taking control.
I appreciate the people that are at least on the right side of things, but they're so misguided.
But I don't know what part of this, talking to a allegedly conservative network on a conservative network.
It's definitely a neocon network. It's not a conservative network.
So the neocon network, what part of this got her canceled and was reprehensible? Because I'm still not seeing what,
probably
it's not like
the lack of a Ukrainian flag on her Twitter profile.
Right, because she didn't Kanye it. She didn't come out and be like, oh, the Jews hate the blacks or whatever he said.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't come
Well,
out.
neocons really like the Jews.
But that's irrelevant here.
Well, I mean, she's Jewish.
I'm just saying that she didn't. I mean, I can't figure out what she said that was so reprehensible, except saying that good will trump evil and letting people come over the border is not good.
I don't think that's it. I think it's the God rhetoric.
You think so? I don't know.
Yeah. I think it turns people off.
So it's reprehensible just to speak about God.
Well, it's reprehensible to talk that you speak for God.
I guess.
I mean, I think this is the distinction, right? Is from the far left side, it's like, well, you're an idiot in the first place for even talking about God.
Right.
But from the neocon side, it's like, God is worshipped in the Presbyterian Church. He's not talked about as though you have a personal relationship with him.
It is a little weird to say that God believes in things like sovereignty and a national identity. Of the sanctity of family, I can kind of buy that, but I don't know about, a national identity. It's like, because where do you get that from? If we're to believe the Bible, I mean, I know I'm a good Catholic boy, and I learned some things along the way. I believe, and that was, well, everybody started out as one people, and then God got pissed, and then that's when you get through the whole Tower of Babel, and you won't be able to understand each other, and this was a punishment. But that would show that the original plan then was to have the whole world as one, not this, well, there's different nations and they have different identities.
Well, so God created Adam and Eve as well as everything else. But he made this, I don't know if you want to call it a mistake necessarily, but this free will idea it ran its course and resulted in first getting Adam and Eve kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and then
I was going to say, free will failed pretty much day two.
Pretty much at every opportunity, and then and Cain killing Abel, and then on and on and on to different people fighting each other with a slightly outpacing procreation over murder, but not by a whole lot. And finally, God just gave up and said, "Fuck this shit." And he realized that he needs to start over. And he said, "Well, is there anybody that's worth saving at all here?" And he found this one dude, Noah,
with a really big boat,
who he realized is worth saving. And he said, "All right, Noah, you're going to be in charge of building the boat that's going to hold all the critters." And so God then effectively started over by wiping out everybody else's genetics and just leaving Noah's genetics. And then Noah procreated. And then most of those people turned out to be total shitbags.
As people are wont to be.
And and so he said, "All right, well, I don't trust anybody else. This one dude who's willing to kill his kid, because I told him so, him I'm going to make a new covenant with." And that's how the tribes of Israel became God's chosen people, is because after doing the first go around and wiping everybody out, well, the first go around was really Adam and Eve, screwed that up. Second go around was everything that came after, up until Noah and the flood. Third go around is Israel, and with Abraham. And then, it's like God keeps hoping that free will does not result in self-annihilation.
Yeah, he's like you playing a video game. One of these points you reset it and you're actually going to get it right.
Exactly.
And he's like, as of yet, no.
But this proves something very interesting, is that God is actually not infallible. and he's not omnipotent because he keeps getting it wrong.
He's like, come on, people.
God damn it.
Got to do it again. Got to wipe these people out.
Uh-huh.
Now
Yeah,
he might
and
just use Russian
and we're
nukes.
literally, right now, we're literally 100 seconds away from the next swipe.
Yeah, he might be the one
And-
talking. The voices in Vladimir's head may be God.
Yeah. And,
I need a
and
reset.
so reset's coming.
Yes,
It's
Vladdy,
just
I
a
need a
question
reset.
of will you have the products that Sergine is making to keep you alive or not?
Hey, the angry Russian prepper. Are they ready? Are they out in Amazon yet?
This
Did you
weekend,
get the
we're gonna be-
boxes? Yes. Wait, this
I
was
did
last
get the
week.
boxes. Yeah, I got the box. So
They
this
showed
weekend,
up.
I'm going to work on getting stuff up on Amazon.
You got like 14 boxes. How big are these boxes? Does the UPS guy
It's
pissed when he
basically
shows up?
It's basically a pallet. That's not that big.
For you, well, so did it come via common carrier or did it come UPS?
Yeah, FedEx.
FedEx is like, fuck you, dude. This is way too many boxes.
FedEx guy did ask me what was in there.
You're like, what is he
He's
building
like,
in there?
what is all this shit from China coming in?
Uh-huh.
I mean, we totally did it like the craziest way possible, which is got the products done start to finish in about 2 months, 2.5 months. And
Well, normally it takes that long to get over here on a container ship.
yeah. And I used air freight. So
So
We
the
flew-
prices are going to be inflated.
oh yeah, guys, you're gonna have way overpay. Yeah, I had to basically fly a pallet of goods out on an airplane. Just try to hurry up and get shit done before the nuclear war starts.
We got to hurry that in.
Mm-hmm. So, but this first product, now I'll be talking more about it on Sergine Speaks, but I'll give you a hint. This is super useful. Don't get me wrong. This is definitely something that will come in handy, but this is not a final product that I've been working on. Like this is in a way, it is something that I think is going to be useful and people will certainly buy, but it's as much a test of the factory as anything before we get them working on more of the custom products.
Ooh,
Yeah.
the best is yet to come.
Oh yeah. And I'm hoping I can get that stuff done before the actual nukes start flying. Because the designs are somewhat there. They're not fully complete, but they're complete enough. And it's just a matter of getting the right factories lined up to be able to produce them.
Now, let me ask, is this a Chinese knockoff of an Adidas tracksuit, but instead of the Adidas logo, it is a
God damn it.
mushroom
I said
cloud?
I'm going to talk about it on my own show. Not on
No Adidas
Jesus,
logo,
dude.
just the mushroom cloud logo.
just 3 stripes.
Yeah, oh, that would be good.
3 stripes in the mushroom cloud.
Uh-huh. I like
That's-
that. Dude,
You like that?
let's make those.
Yeah. It's, I think, well, they don't have a patent on 3 stripes, do they? They probably do, actually.
Did you Guru wants to know who is this we that Gene speaks of? Well, the
Yeah,
conglomerate.
I do have a business partner. I have a business partner in this venture, and it's not anybody on No Agenda or anything.
Well, no, because nobody in No Agenda would actually lend you money.
Well, and nobody in No Agenda, I think, is, well, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say, no. Look, we all know that 95% of the No Agenda audience are dudes named Ben.
Did you
That we
get
know
any?
for a fact.
Did you get any funds from Poland?
Poland, no.
Yes,
And our product is not going to be sold in Poland, but we will ship a free one to every Russian soldier for every one we sell in the U.S.
So this is like a Tom's thing. This is nice.
Uh-huh.
You're doing your part for the community.
Just buy the product on Amazon, and we'll make sure we ship one out to somebody who needs it.
A lot of people don't know that the reality is that the 3-letter guy, he's actually your partner in all these things. This is all an act.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yes. Yes, it would.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, I've always said controversy is good for podcasts, man. I told you that back when you were bickering with your partner.
And people tune in and they're like, what's going on here? Is there going to be a fight? Is this going to be good? Should we get the popcorn?
Yeah, exactly. People like to get the popcorn out and watch a good fight.
You never know where these guys are going. And I will say,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if I'm considering this a donation for today's show or not, because there was only one.
Mm.
And it came from our good buddy, Dame Lisa, who is a big supporter of the Rock and Roll Pre-Show. But
Okay.
she came in with a $5 donation that said, this is for your unrelenting /GOB mashup. Please do it again. So I don't even know
Did you do a mashup before?
Well, last week we had you on with Bemrose.
Oh, is that what she means by mashup? It's just the crossover.
Yeah, the crossover.
Okay.
So I guess people like that. Maybe my exit strategy is just let you and Bemrose bitch at each other while I record it.
It's funny because I don't see it that way. I don't think Bemrose and I bitch at each other. I think we bitch with each other.
Sometimes. But people want, like you said, people want the conflict. They're either Team Ryan or they're Team Gene, and they got T-shirts, and we sell the T-shirts at greatly overpriced.
You probably should sell those T-shirts. You'd make more money than donations coming in.
That wouldn't be. Yeah, we need a product because we need Taylor Swift's marketing people, because then you put out like 14 different iterations, and then people want to buy them all.
I don't know that you really do need that. I think what you just need just T-shirts. On Simple. My favorite character on that show is Luke, who's Polish, by the way. Luke Radowski is the generally the guy that's saying the stuff that I'm thinking. But he is, and he refers to himself as the humble T-shirt salesman, because this is literally how he makes the majority of his money, is by selling T-shirts. And I'm pretty sure he's not the one coming up with the phrases on them. They're all politically incorrect. They're all funny. But he's literally got a new shirt every single day.
So they're just being thrown in like one of these make them as you order them kind of thing.
Yeah. They're all on demand printed for people ordering. And I don't think it's a once a day new shirt, but it's probably at least 1 or 2 shirts a week that are brand new. And they're all sort of stuff like, 1984 used to be fiction, or, things that are just kind of funny, politically incorrect, and dystopian.
Hey, and with the holidays coming around, everybody needs some gift giving
So I'm just
ideas.
saying, Darren, you may want to, given that you run a whole bunch of shows, you may want to
put some
find
shirts
a
out
T-shirt company and then sell different shirts for different shows and make a few bucks.
Yeah, we've worked with both the 2 big ones, unless they're different. I mean, I haven't looked recently, but the Cafe Press, which has been around forever. And then
20 years, yeah.
The other one is Teespring, which
that seems to be the one that most podcasts are using these days.
That's where we made the No Agenda University sweatshirts and stuff, and those came out fairly nicely.
I think the quality is an issue with Teespring, but if you're doing just on demand, that's good enough.
Once we start getting millions of orders, then you could get them printed.
I would say if you do more than 10 grand a month, it's time to move off Teespring onto a custom print shop.
Yeah.
Which will do much higher quality for about maybe 20-30% more.
But see, the shittier the quality, the more collectible they'll be, because they won't last past 2 washing machine cycles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, here's the T-shirt. Wear it with pride. Don't wash it.
Don't wash it. Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, I think for a lot of people, that means they'll get a half a year out of it.
Oh, that's true. You can usually tell those people when you're down.
Because they're No Agenda listeners. Yes.
Whoa. Damn.
Whoa. Wait, did I say that out loud? I thought that was.
We'll cut that out. That's rude.
Yeah, please do cut that out, because developers definitely take showers.
And I definitely wouldn't use that as the opening or anything for the for the show.
God, no, that would be controversial, and you know how bad controversy is for podcasts.
It never works out.
No, it always bites you in the ass somehow.
Sometimes
it doesn't get you a bigger audience at all.
Well, getting an audience, that's the real trick at this point. Because I do a bunch of different podcasts.
Remember to like and subscribe, guys.
Well, that's
like
it.
And subscribe.
Now you understand why everybody on YouTube says that every damn video, because it's true. And we've plateaued like on every show. It's like the amount of listeners is great. I'd always like more, but it's like, I should keep moving in the right direction, which we've had that conversation many a times here, which is the one downside of podcasting is it doesn't matter how good you are. You don't have the same mechanism in place that YouTube has
for promoting things.
Yes, that puts things in front of you that maybe you haven't seen or heard before.
Yeah, and that is the algorithm is good and bad on YouTube, because it's bad when it's manipulated. and
Which it
things
usually
that
is.
should be going in there are removed from it. But it's amazingly good at finding me cool cat videos because it knows I like cats.
Well, the thing with YouTube, and I've thought about this, because most of the time when I'm doing podcasts, politics, the Ukraine stuff, the vaccine stuff come into it, and you can't do that on YouTube, I don't think,
Mm-hmm.
and be successful unless you're Tim Pool and you already have a huge audience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. So I think you really need a different shtick, which is why, having something like Bandrew does with all of the audio gear reviews.
Niche. You got to have a niche.
Right. And you're doing something that is really almost guaranteed not to offend somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the trick of finding that, which I've thought of, a few different ways to kind of go about it. I thought maybe start a YouTube channel on collecting and buying and trading ticket stubs now that this is a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because people are still amazed at that.
I've interviewed back when I used to have my podcast where I covered new media. This was a few years back. I interviewed a couple of YouTube people, one of whom just went from 0 to, I want to say 30,000 subscribers, and the other one who had over 1 million subscribers, and kind of talked to them about their journey and progress. One thing everybody has in common is your first year you're doing the show, nobody's watching it.
Right. You feel like you're
talking
like to nobody.
It's not doing anything. You're seeing virtually no growth. You look at your view numbers and it's like 500 views.
So basically,
and 500 views doesn't mean shit.
They want you to bring in the audience until you get to a certain
Well, of course they do. Of course they do. But that's a common theme, is that the first year washes out 99% of the people that start on a given topic. And the very small number of people left that continue doing shows. And the other secret is regularity. You have to do it at least twice a week. If you don't do a show twice a week, it'll never grow. If you do something twice a week, you've got a pretty good chance of growing. If you do something on a daily basis, like Tim Pool, it is a much, much higher chance of growing and being promoted. YouTube likes promoting things that are daily.
I like that you now have his name down to one word.
What do you mean?
Instead of saying Tim Pool, you always say Tim Pool. There's no break at all between the first and last name. It's just Tim Pool.
The Tim Pool. Tim Pool is his name. Tim Pool is his name.
Tim Pool, yeah. Tim Pool.
Yeah. So I think that he knows this, and he's got a few people in the production side that really understand well how to grow an audience, because he has grown an audience from a relatively small, under 20,000 subscriber channel to over 1 million.
Well, every now
on
and
multiple
then,
channels.
I see some crazy shit. Every now and then something pops up, and for some reason, probably because I clicked on it once, in the recommended news stories, you get a bunch of stuff about side hustles. Here's how I'm making some extra money. And there was one of a woman that was making inspirational videos on YouTube. And the way she was doing this was going out and finding stock footage that made some kind of sense. Maybe it's an eagle soaring through the air. Then adding open, free to use music behind it, and then finding quotes, quite often in audio form, that were also in the public domain now.
Yeah.
And putting the video together without actually
owning any of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Creating nothing new, just combining a bunch of stuff that was open.
Transformative work. Absolutely.
And making hundreds of dollars a day, allegedly.
Or thousands even.
On the videos. Yeah.
Yeah. No, people do that. Relating to that topic, there's, if you watch the stream flowing through on No Agenda, there is an address there called something like, God, what's Rand Paul's dad's name?
Rand Paul's dad is Ron Paul.
Ron Paul. So it's Ron Paul quotes. I think is the name of the channel. I think it's a bot. I don't think it's a person. But on a regular basis, it posts a quote with Rand Paul attributed to it. And in two different instances, and I suspect 99% of the time, these are incorrect.
Right.
These are a random quote from some person in the last 300 years, historical, that is eloquent. And it simply just says dash Ron Paul.
But people are like, hey, let me follow this.
Yeah, like I guarantee you Ron Paul is not happy about this person doing this. Because being misattributing a quote isn't quite as bad as claiming that you said something that you didn't and plagiarizing it, but it's pretty fucking bad. And there's a independent channel bot out there effectively doing this under Ron Paul's name. And I'm sure the thought was the same as you just described. It's like, well, these are all free open materials that I can grab. Nobody has a copyright on a quote from 200 years ago or 100 years ago or even 50 years ago. And I like Ron Paul, therefore I'll just attribute all of them to Ron Paul. You can't do that. You can't fricking do that. Makes you look like a moron that you are.
Well, that reminds me of a story that I heard Bob Costas tell, Bob Costas actually one of the
funniest dead people alive.
He's one of the few sports announcers that has done a really
Is he
good
dead
job.
Or alive? I thought he was dead.
No, he's still around. He was still doing the baseball the other day, I think.
Oh, is he? Okay.
He has a great voice.
Yeah, he does.
And he's able to do sports without...
He's a guy with a good voice who doesn't have a face for radio.
Right. And he's a very smart guy. He's funny, and he's really good no matter what sport he's covering. It's not like he has to do baseball or basketball. Well, he tells the story of the first time he called a hockey game, and I don't think it was the NHL. I think it was a smaller league, whatever it was. And he's like, the things move so fast, and trying to follow that from his vantage point, he's like, and he didn't know the teams, which was also the downside of coming in without knowing the players really well. He's like, I just picked during the pregame, I picked one guy, and he was about to have the game of his life, because anytime I didn't know who it was, that was the guy, that was the name that was coming out of his mouth. And that's kind of the same thing. It's just like, doesn't matter who you attribute it to. It's like this guy, it's this guy. He did it again. Oh, wow. He passes to himself. It's the same kind of thing with these quotes. And if you look up half of these, you'll find that most of the quotes you see on the internet in meme form are, in fact, bullshit.
Yep. Yeah, totally. If you ever look them up, if you see a quote you like, what you ought to do, and I encourage everybody to do this, is to copy that quote and then paste it into Google and see what comes up as results, or paste it into whatever search engine. Because a lot of the time, you'll get the results back and you'll see it was misattributed, or it was even misquoted, meaning some of the words were different.
Yeah, that's the other nefarious thing about some quotes, is changing a little word here or there.
Yeah, you'll have stuff attributed to John Kennedy that actually came out from Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, or it's just insanity.
Yeah,
and it's usually when they're trying to prove a point, especially with the politics the way they are. No, you see, he predicted this. Like, no, they didn't. But people will believe anything they see on the internet, which is, I mean, again, this is why you're selling Russian angry preps.
Yeah.
When are those videos coming out? I want to see you in a full head-on nuclear suit with the Adidas, right? With our new branding, which is the nuclear Adidas. I mean, you probably can't call it nuclear Adidas, but you know what it is.
Probably not.
What's in Russian though? Just change it to Russian. Nobody will know.
Yeah. So the branding isn't going to be Adidas. But the brand, well, I can tell you the brand, it's Yukon Supply Company.
Wait, it's not the angry Russian prepper?
No.
That would have been way better.
Yukon Supply Company dates way back to pre the sale of Russian property up north to the U.S.
I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just translating that into Russian and putting that into the into the troll room because this is what it really should be. I mean, if we're serious here, my messages will appear here. There we go. That's when I typed in Yukon Supply Company. That is what I got. Now I have no idea how to say that in Russian though.
Well, I don't see your screen, so I don't know what the hell
I put it
typed.
into the Zencaster screen, so you should have.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. There's a chat
I wasn't
right
even
there.
paying attention.
Like, boom. They have an interface with the chat, which is interesting, I guess.
Yukonska Kompania Snabzhenie. Yeah, I mean it's a literal translation,
which is what you would get from Google Translate.
Which is that's be about right. But yeah, I mean that's I'll have more stuff posted. There's no point in talking about it or showing stuff until it's actually available.
Well, yeah, because people will be like, yeah, I want to buy that. Although that's all Taylor Swift has been doing for a month and a half is, this is going to be here on this day.
Mm-hmm.
You should have like a
countdown.
Ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
I have had a number of people on No Agenda Social ask me for the link. And when I tell them that it's not out yet, they're like, well, you just talked about it. I'm like, I know, but it's not out yet.
There is a Yukon Supply Company Limited in Hong Kong.
There sure is.
Oh, is that you? Updated on 2018. Name history goes back to 1992. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's an old company.
Oh, it says company status dissolved. So I guess it's been solved then again.
It has been sold. Yes, exactly. But yeah, it's going to be a product line. And obviously, we're going to start with the one product and move on from there. But yeah, I mean, like for people listening to this show, the sort of jokey names like Angry Russian Prepper, which I think is hilarious.
Dude, that would have been the best. We need that name.
Yeah. But these are all inside jokes. This is inside baseball stuff that for the rest of the people who represent the majority of the buyers would be like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you use something that sounds very solid and been around forever and trustworthy, like Yukon Supply Company.
Made with care in Wuhan.
In Wuhan. Shenzhen.
Oh, please. They make all the electronics there. Which
so yeah, and it is it's been an interesting experience for sure. But I've got a lot of product ideas knocking around my head, man. I've got more ideas than money to make the products. But there's another product line or another product for sure that I've been thinking about that addresses some of the ATF issues that exist.
Oh, wait, they kind of frown upon some of this?
Well, I'm sure they would frown on it, but I think it would be perfectly legal. And I'm not going to mention anything more until I have some prototypes created so I can put in the patent application. Once that application's in, I'll talk a lot more about the product.
Yeah, you don't want anybody getting those company secrets.
Don't want somebody to steal my ideas. Ideas are super valuable.
Yeah, your
That's
ideas.
the big joke.
Your ideas are almost as good as your Adidas.
I don't know. They're both so good, man.
Hey, I come up with the best ideas when I'm in my Adidas.
I'm always in my Adidas, so I should come up with the best ideas then. Yeah,
dude, we need you.
That's tautology, man.
We need you in a very Chris Farley-esque running down the street, and then like you come to a stop and be like, "I come up with the best ideas when I'm in my Adidas," and then just throw the logo up on the screen. That would be great content.
Yeah, and if after running down the street, I would do the Chris Farley, the Bears bit where my heart stops.
Oh yeah, the Bears. Oh, Ditka.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Ditka. I mean, I had a ticket from when Mike Ditka's Chicago Bears got their asses whooped the year after they won.
Yeah, nobody knows who he is here because no one's this old.
Nobody's that old. Nobody knows Ditka. Come on.
I know who he is, but I think a lot of our audience does not.
An asshole offered me $70 for the ticket on eBay. And I was like, no, 75. And they took it. And then fucking for 4 days didn't pay and didn't respond. So eBay's got to do something about fucktards like that.
I don't understand who buys a used ticket. What kind of idiot spends money on a ticket that doesn't get you anything?
I mean, again, these are my dad's tickets, not mine. I wish they were mine because at
I
one
don't
point,
care. You're fine because your dad took advantage of these. He actually used it to go someplace and get benefit.
I agree.
What kind of idiot buys a ticket for somebody else's benefit? That's like buying used toilet paper.
I'm just wishing
you're literally selling used toilet paper.
Oh, and this is it. And up until the point that the ticket for Michael Jordan's first game sold for $1 million plus, there was an unused ticket, unripped, a season ticket holder ticket, because there are different variations with the Bulls and other teams. Sold for well over $1 million. I think it was maybe 2 point something.
Serious idiots.
That's when I started looking for, well, what other tickets are selling. And my dad's always saved them. And this is something that I swear that this otherwise would have been like, well, here's a bunch of tickets. These are probably worth grand total of all of the thousands of tickets he has. You'd have figured maybe it's worth a couple of $100 to somebody.
Or zero. Yes.
Yeah. We have found 3 different tickets that have sold for $1,000 so far.
That is fucking insane.
Yeah.
This country deserves everything it gets. The whole economy crashing is well deserved by the fact there's still people here willing to throw money away on a ticket that has been used.
Yeah. One's going to Texas. One will be delivered in Texas today.
Tell me where. I'll go and talk some sense into this person because
like,
they clearly need it.
You're like, what are you doing? Why are you buying this?
Jesus, what an idiot.
But I'm telling you, this is the weird thing with the world.
If you can't derive any benefit from a thing, don't buy the thing.
Now, it's a souvenir. I get that. You know it existed. There's only so many.
But it's not your souvenir.
Correct. But it doesn't matter. It still exists for that game. You didn't need to be in that seat. I mean, I understand. I mean, I kind of get it. I mean, I think it's a historical. Now, there's tickets that I think should be worth way more that aren't. Like, I get where a ticket stub for the first game Jackie Robinson played in the major leagues, that should be worth something that has some historical significance.
A baseball he signed should be worth something. A ticket should not be worth anything unless it's got his signature on it.
Here's the thing. Baseballs, the pricing on those, because my dad has thousands of those as well. The overall for baseballs are shit now. Now, if you get like a Mickey Mantle or Ted Williams, yeah, you'll make some decent money. But the amount of baseballs, because I start doing research on all this stuff, because he's got a huge collection, and eventually that's
where you got your pack ratness from, is your dad.
Yes. Oh, there's no doubt. And you're finding out that half these baseballs of guys of autographs that he has, they're being sold for less than you could buy a brand new baseball for to get signed today. So,
oh my God,
it's like, yeah, not a plus, not a profit making venture. Probably maybe 5% of the autographs we've ever gotten in person would be ones that have gone up in value.
Yeah.
Including Michael Jordan. I do have Michael Jordan on a baseball.
Honestly, I don't understand that whole. But, I spend money on non-existent things like computer games.
See, there you go.
But at least I'm deriving pleasure out of them.
You're getting use out of it.
Participating in an action that involves the thing that I paid money for.
Which is why.
What are you getting when you buy a used fucking ticket?
Well, see, that's it. Now, I will give credit. This is for baseball cards. I'm sure they will show up larger for the tickets as well. But I saw the other day when I was going to pick up some supplies, ticket holders, because they make ticket protectors, little lucite things. Because if you're shipping these things around, you don't want to just throw the $1,000 piece of paper into an envelope. You know what I'm saying?
Don't you?
No. Because then that goes horribly wrong. But this company is making a frame that you can put a baseball card into, and then you could put as many of these things together. I'm like, well, that actually makes sense because you can display it. Because you're right. When you buy something like a ticket, otherwise, are you just stashing it in a box? How do you display a ticket? So I get, my dad, for me, when I was a kid, I've got a ton of 8x10 autographs from baseball players that are personalized to me. And it's like, well, that for a long time, was up on the wall in the bedroom or in the one office that I had. And, that makes sense because you can display them. Like getting autographed books. That's why autographed books aren't worth as much as a lot of other things because, well, how do you display that?
No.
You don't get joy out of that.
I don't know what you do. In some sense, putting an autograph in a book ruins the value of the book because you can't resell it.
That's on some of the stuff. There is actually that argument has been going on for as long as baseball cards have been worth something.
Yeah.
Which is if you take a mint Mickey Mantle that's worth, $50,000.
Yeah, and it's
and Mickey Mantle scribbles on it. Right. Is it worth more or less now because of
theoretically should be worth more because there are fewer of them with his signature than without.
Correct.
But also they're not pristine then.
Right. You can't say it's mint because now there's ink on it.
I mean, I remember back in the 80s, there were guys that used to buy the packs of cards, the baseball
the
cards,
wax packs, baby.
And then leave them in there and never open them. And I'm like, dude, there's gum in there. You're wasting the gum. Why aren't you eating the gum at least? If you want to stick them into a box or something, do it. But
here's
that gum is going to go hard.
Well, it is. And so you're wasting the gum, but there are unopened
do
packs.
they even come with gum these days, or do you just buy the pack of cards with no gum?
I don't believe any of them still have gum. I could be wrong. But
you remember when they used to have gum?
Oh, yeah, because I lived through it. And in the 80s, the other thing we figured out in the 80s, which is why you have to be very careful with any fucking collectible, is with those, they called them wax packs for a reason. And that's because they were sealed with fucking wax.
Yep.
And here's the thing. If you carefully open up a wax pack and look through and see if the good card's in there that you want, and it's not, a normal iron that you do take the wrinkles out of your clothes with will reseal that pack.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, well,
when did they switch to foil?
I don't remember when that came around, but there are.
I remember when they made that switch.
But there are now vintage unopened packs of cards that sell for, $25,000 because you're playing the lottery. It's like, well, if there's a Michael Jordan card that you might pull that's worth $150,000.
It's better than playing the lottery. If you just simply buy a card for every player on their first year that they come out, then statistically, some of those players will become famous.
Yeah, the rookie cards.
Yeah, the rookie cards. That's all you need to buy.
Which is why the debut ticket stubs are going the same route. Now, again, I'm with you. Everybody that I talk to that is logical goes, well, this makes no... I mean, I get why somebody might pay something to have it, but the amounts that they've gotten
$1,000, you're fucking crazy. That's more than the face value.
And it's way more than the face value.
Way more than the face value, yeah. Like you said, it's like a season ticket value.
Yes. And the question now becomes, is this going to be a bubble that's quickly going to go away? Yeah. Or is this right at the beginning? Because all of these companies that do the grading.
I have nothing against people that sell this shit. I just don't understand the mentality of the people that buy this shit.
Oh, I agree. I'd much rather have a record album because at least then I can play it. There's a reason to have it, which is
now there's certain things when I've started collecting things that I've just bought 2 copies, one to use, one to keep.
Right. I do that with almost every record I buy now. And I'm pissed at myself for the vinyl. Because I'm pissed at myself, though, that when the Taylor Swift...
the Red Album?
No, not the Red Album. The one... what's it called? Revolution? No, not Revolution. There was one that they came out with as a picture disc. And FYE, the retailer, they came out with a version of that on orange vinyl. And for some reason, I just bought one. And I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
Stash it away. That I've seen selling now on eBay for between $1,500 and $2,000.
It'll go up to $5,000 before too long.
It probably will because it keeps going up. And I'm just waiting for the bubble.
Well, that is the beauty of vinyl from an investment standpoint is there's fewer and fewer of them around because you damage the damn thing every time you play it.
Yeah, so the unopened, I bought because they're pretty and I put them into frames and the frames cost more. that fit the picture discs. I mean,
you know that has always been the best business. It's always been the case going back my entire life is that the framing business is where the real money's made. Your parts cost is about $5.
And you can
you're
charge
typically charging hundreds of dollars for custom framing jobs.
Yeah, you just have to be able to know how to put it together. And that's not that hard.
And when I was doing full-time photography, I did the exact same thing. I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm going to frame myself. And I still have in the garage a whole ton of framing parts.
So if I need some stuff framed, I just go to you.
I mean, you could. I probably got like 30 sizes of frames sitting in the garage. I'd love to find a way to get rid of it. I just don't want to deal with eBay.
Yeah, well, I can understand that because eBay sucks. Again, like, here, I'll offer you the money and then never pay. Bastards. But these picture discs, I'm like, you know what? Okay, because I mean, normally when you're listening to the records, picture discs sound like crap. They've gotten way better in the last few years. But going back into like the 80s and 90s, the picture disc, you only bought for the picture. Yeah. You never really bought it to play. And
you bought a CD to play.
Right. Now, it's a 2-album picture disc set that Taylor Swift put out. And there's 4 different images. So really, if you wanted to frame it, you needed to buy 2. You know, when they came out, they were like $50, which is fine. That's your double album. Well, I didn't do that. I found them on eBay from CD Imports. It's a company that I've dealt with in the past. They've been around forever. They were selling these double album picture disc sets off at one point for $5. I bought 10 sets. They're now selling for over $100 again.
Jesus.
Like, see, you should have just saved all this shit, you know?
I mean, I'm glad you're finding a hobby that is generating income for you, which is awesome.
And not taking all the money away.
But I have to keep shaking my head about all the idiots that are buying this shit from you.
Well, I haven't sold the Taylor stuff yet. I'm still waiting for the prices to peak.
Yeah, to keep going. You know when they're going to peak is when she dies.
Well, yeah. Then the shit. If you can stick around that long, it'll be like, all of a sudden.
I'll be around. I don't know about you, but
all of the autograph stuff automatically goes up by like 10% or probably 100% at that point.
Yeah.
You have to have people that want to buy it. That is the secret with any collectible. And I mean, I've got a couple signed lithographs that, I got, I think all of them as gifts. Maybe I bought one myself and they were like all $100 or $150. They came framed. They were signed by Taylor Swift. They're all selling for easily $1,500 a piece now.
That's crazy.
Oh, I agree. It's just like, well, I could sell it, but
I've never understood that. I personally have never done any kind of collecting of things like that don't have intrinsic value. Like the closest I've come is what?
Coins, gold.
No, never done that. I mean, I collected coins when I was a kid, but they probably threw them out after I moved out of my parents' house or something. But closest I think I've come is just wine and expensive wines and ports, but all of those have intrinsic value.
Yes, and they kind of have expiration
dates. There's
dates.
A reason that expensive port is expensive or expensive whiskey is expensive. And it's not just the fact that there's a small amount of it. It's also that there's a small amount of it and it tastes fucking good.
Yes. Well, that's true with the...
I buy this stuff not to resell, but to kill. Like, it loses all its value when I drink it.
Yes, it's gone. Yeah, the value goes away.
Maybe not. Maybe I should check on how much empty bottles of expensive ports are worth.
Some of them probably are, but I noticed this even with the Tom Seaver wine. And my mom, Tom Seaver was her favorite baseball player, and she likes wine. So when Tom Seaver retired and started his own winery out there in California, we started ordering her the bottles, and they started out, I think the bottles were like direct from them, $80 a piece. I think they're up to about $150 a piece now. And that's shipped. But the ones going back a few years already, you'll go on to wine sites where people do resell and stuff, and they're 500 plus a bottle easily. It's amazing how this stuff appreciates in value because, again, you can't get
it. I've got most of a crate of Game of Thrones wine.
Nice.
That I bought.
Did you get a crate of the Snoop Dogg wine too?
No, I'm not into the marijuana. But I was thinking this will be great. This shit's definitely going to appreciate.
And then it didn't.
And then the last season of Game of Thrones came out, and I was like, motherfuckers just devalued my wine. Because nobody after that last season is going to want to drink this shit.
See, I didn't see any of the seasons. Is it something I should watch?
Game of Thrones? Yeah. I mean, it's enjoyable. I'd say, like most shows, the first 3-4 seasons are the best, and then
they go through the phase of we have no
after
clues,
3 or 4 seasons,
but they keep redoing us.
Shit.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We keep getting renewed. We have no idea where to take the show.
Why can't I hear you for some reason?
I don't know. What did you do?
That's
did you
weird.
break? I can hear you. Are you there?
I can see you're talking, but I cannot hear you.
Uh-oh. Earth to Gene. What happened, Gene?
Huh.
I am here. Are you here?
Yeah, I can see you talking, but I can't hear you and hear something
broke.
Ain't working. So I don't know, man. Maybe this is the end of the show.
I think you should refresh.
Unless you want to hang up and try reconnect or something, because
let us out.
Maybe it's on my end. It's got to be on my end because I can see in Zencaster the little squiggly line for me moving when I talk, and I can see the one moving for you when you talk. But I am not hearing you.
Refresh that browser. If you refresh.
Refresh.
Yes.
Okay.
That was a text message. And see, Gene now has exited the room. He's back. He's healthy, ready to record. It says. Any difference?
Oh, yeah. It totally works now.
Interesting.
That was good. How'd you come up with that? That was a great solution.
Well, it's happened in the past. I think.
Oh, it has? Yeah, it's never happened to me. Okay. Interesting.
So something disconnected. I can hear you.
Yeah, I figured because you were replying to me. I could see the squiggly lines based on my analysis of squiggles that you were replying to what I was saying, but I couldn't tell exactly what.
What, you're not good enough yet to look at the waveform and go, oh, that's what he's saying?
I've been working on it for about 65 years, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Nah, I keep working on it.
Yeah, I figure another decade or two, I might get there.
So with the Game of Thrones, like every other show, they go a few years and then they keep getting renewed long after the ideas run out.
Well, there's the biggest thing that happened is they ran out of source material. They ran out of books.
Oh yeah,
because Game of Thrones was written as a series of books, and the show went through all the books, and they were growing their audience every year, so they were making money up the wazoo. And they're like, well, we'll just write some more shit, keep doing it, and the shit that they wrote after the books was horrible and inconsistent, and it just tanked the whole show.
Now there are questions in the troll room from Dame Lisa, the one person who sent some money along today. Unrelenting.show/donate. She wants to know where the sign up list is for the Gene New Enterprise Yukon Supply Company, where you're going to be able to get the goods. Do you have a newsletter yet?
Not yet, but I will let everybody know on Nojin the Social. So if she's on there, she will see my postings about that.
Oh, does she have to unblock you then, though, or unmute you?
if she's currently blocking or muting me, yes, she will need to unblock or unmute me.
See, I wish I could see those stats. Like how many people are blocking a certain person? That could be funny.
That would be interesting. I'm very curious. I think if you combine the people that follow you and me, we're probably some of the highest followed people on the entire No Social.
Well, if you take away Adam and John, the no agenda guys.
I said some of the, I didn't say the
top of the.
If we take Adam and John, we probably are like second and third or third and fourth or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's pretty high up there. So I suspect there certainly are people that have blocked me, but I don't think it's as many as
people that you have blocked.
That I've blocked. Well, I've only blocked about 10 people. I just look at their last name, and if it's Polish, then I just block them.
So I'm really happy my last name is not.
It's O'Neill.
Yeah,
because you lucked out on that one. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, you're only following.
What is your mom's maiden name?
Targos.
Targos.
Yes.
That's not very Polish sounding.
You know, that was always talked about as being Polish, and it is
now
only
what street did you grow up on?
Right, the 498th Street
Okay.
in California, Uber California.
You grew up in California?
No, Chicago. I was just spelling off the bots. Now, why can't I see who you're following? It's like you don't show that list. There's only 7 people you're following.
Yeah,
on the No Agenda
You're
Social. I figured I was one, so we're down to 6. I'm guessing Adam,
John.
so we're down to 5,
Yeah.
4. So there's only 4 other people that were worthy of a follow.
Yeah.
And okay, one of them has to be the Sir Joshua.
No,
really. So wow.
No,
he didn't make the cut.
Ben. I follow Ben.
Dude named Ben.
Yeah, mostly because I keep forgetting his name on No Agenda Social, so that's an easy way for me to remember is to follow him. I'll probably unfollow him eventually.
Well, when that show breaks down and things go to court.
When things go to court. Yes, that's usually how podcasts end. Things go to court.
I mean, let's just understand. I was a big part of the intellectual property, the idea for this company you're coming up with. So if you're successful, expect a lawsuit, and if you go bankrupt, you'll never hear from me ever again. Which is how they always go. You wait if they're not successful though, then that's fine.
Yeah, and then there's another one that's like not a No Agenda Social, but it's like a hot redheads.
Oh, so you're following somebody off of.
Follow that. So that's one of them.
That makes more sense.
And then, so what is that? Like down to 2?
I think so. And who are those people? That is the question.
I'm trying to remember.
Obviously, people that don't post a lot.
I follow Bemrose.
Why?
So he's one more.
Why?
He only posts like once a week, so he's an easy follow.
Is there anything interesting though? I mean, he has a podcast
the
too.
last guy that I follow is Martin JJ.
Well, Martin JJ's cool. He posts some interesting stuff.
So I think that's it. That's the whole list of 7.
If you want Gene to follow you, just send in a donation that's large enough to this show or Sir Gene Speaks. And say, please follow me.
I think it'd probably be about $5,000 at this point.
Really?
Yeah, for me to follow somebody.
That's shooting high. I'll give you that.
I mean, I'm just saying, I do have a price, but that price is not cheap.
Gene, you can follow them and then mute them. Shh.
That's not what it's about. Because everybody I follow, I actually read everything they put up. Now, unlike you, who follows me, but doesn't actually read my posts.
But I rarely post compared to you, who posts a lot.
I post probably an average of 10 posts a day.
I post on average 0 posts a day.
And some days it's more like 25.
See, there you go. It's Gene fatigue.
There was a comment which I have a screenshot of, which was great. This was back probably in March of this year. Is when the war first got going, I was posting literally everything, like every bit of news coming in. And so quite often in the entire local timeline, it would be nothing but posts from me. And I had somebody post a reply says, so is this No Agenda Social or did I stumble onto the Sir Gene Social?
They're one and the same.
Yeah. They're literally one and the same.
If you want to know about Polish food and latest video games.
All you have to do is just type in sirgenesocial.com and you will get here.
Dame Lisa asking about the club you were talking about. This is the club. I mean, Gene's going to have a club around the merchandise.
Yeah. So the club ideas, I think I mentioned in 3 or 4 shows back. So what we're going to do is essentially I'm going to be creating a number of products throughout the year. Not quite one a month. I think that's too aggressive. It'll probably be one every couple of months, maybe once every 3 months. But it'll be a number of original products. There's also products that I'm buying myself that are not necessarily products that we're going to be making ourselves.
And I hear the club members can get a great deal on custom framing.
Yeah, I do have a bunch of those framed. So the idea with the club is it'll be very cheap. It'll be run through locals.com, since I already have an account on there. And Locals takes very little. This is one of the benefits that when we started using Locals is that it's a great way to test because Locals doesn't take anything until people start doing donations. So you can set it up, create all the stuff on there, and it costs nothing until you're actually getting some money in. So the club will be through locals.com. And what it'll let you do is I'll post videos related to prepping, advice, stuff like that. Basically, just talking about all the stuff that I've done. I mean, I've spent a lot of money over the years in buying a lot of products, many of which suck. So as much as anything, it's a good way to learn about things that don't work very well instead of spending your own money. But also in the club, we're going to be doing either discount priced items that are going to be cheaper through the club than on Amazon for the same thing, or potentially even some free shipments just for being a member. Now, the membership is going to be $5 a month, cancel anytime, or rejoin anytime. I mean, it's like anything else on Locals. You can sign up or stop being a member at any time you want.
Yeah.
But the idea is that $5 a month at bare minimum will be the savings that you're going to get from buying the product. But generally, you'll be getting more than $5 worth of value out of the club, not to mention access to things that people that are not members won't have access to, including videos and whatnot. So the club thing is coming. That's probably going to start in January, guys. So you got a few months yet before we get the club rolling.
No, we need it now.
I know. Well, my poll came out about a month ago, and the poll was like, shit, I think I had like 180 people said yes, and like 30 or 40 people say no, they're not interested.
They're like, screw that guy.
It was it's a statistically significant enough number poll to say that clearly people would like to have this club be running than not.
How many polls responded to the poll?
I exclude those.
Oh, okay.
So consequently, it's all coming. But it's not just, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it's easy to talk about this stuff, but when you're trying to actually create products, this shit takes time. It's all much slower than what I would prefer. But that's just reality. Give you one example. Had the products airshipped, which increase the cost significantly, but meant we didn't have to wait for 3 months for a cargo ship to arrive. But even the air shipping ended up taking 3 weeks.
Well, that's a hell of a flight.
It was over, overnight for the flight, and then 3 weeks of getting processed through customs.
Yeah, because they're like, what are all these boxes from China for the Russian guy?
What are these boxes from China that have material in them that completely seals off any kind of smell?
Yeah, this is for some Nev Thule. He don't sound American. We better look into this.
Well, it's Yukon Trading, but yeah.
Russia bad. Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Was that why you didn't have to go with Russian Trading Company?
No, definitely not Russian Trading Company.
See, okay, so you're better at marketing than some. It wasn't
I'm not great at marketing, but I am better than some, yes.
Yeah, I think you should just have a big picture of Putin on the horse as far as your logo, Yukon Trading Company. Just put like a miner's cap on him.
On Putin?
Yeah, a shirtless Putin on a horse. You could make that work for Yukon.
Yeah, I mean, I could, or I could use the original flag of Yukon.
Well, why would you want to do that?
Well, I mean, if you want a logo.
It's too on the nose. We need at least one Easter egg in the logo.
Okay. Fair enough.
Make it fun for people to be able to make it fun for them to give these as gifts. I mean, there could be like a fun card you can give with this stuff. Like, here we go for Christmas. You're ready for the nuclear.
Should I ensure that there are cards packaged with a number of, this is card number 54?
Yes.
And then people can sell them on eBay 30 years from now?
You can connect them to an NFT. Dude, you are missing the
Fuck
boat.
NFTs, dude. Fuck NFTs.
What, you don't like NFTs?
No,
They're
I
near
don't.
fungible tokens or something.
they're not fun at all.
They're fungible. They
Yeah,
may
but
not
they're
be
not fun.
but they're
not fun.
fungible.
They're not fun tokens. Not fun tokens are not the way to go.
Not fun, but fungible.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to hearing about all this product, see how it does over the
It's interesting.
Christmas
Hey,
season.
one last thing about that game that I talked about earlier.
You mean the one that is all about
Do you
2077?
remember the name of the game?
Cyberpunk
Yeah,
2077?
Very good. Good memory there. And for the game, we'll have a DLC, an update coming. And Sasha Grey will be one of the voices.
Well, see, now I understand why you're pumping this game so hard.
My girl, Sasha.
Now, what would you pay to get her to do the narration for your little
Dude,
YouTube
I can't
ad?
afford her to do anything. No, she's in a different class of people to hire.
You can't even get her to talk for 60 seconds, huh?
She's worth 7 figures, dude.
Well, I understand, but what is a Sasha
Wait.
Grey? If you looked into this, what is a voiceover from Sasha Grey going for?
Like, how much would it cost for me to have Sasha Grey do my read of my audiobook?
Well, the audiobook would take a lot of time, but if you were doing like a 60-second spot on YouTube or something, I would assume that would be a little more palatable.
Yeah, so there's a website, I can't remember the name of it, that you may know, that has voices available. So it's basically a company website that aggregates actors, actresses, famous people, to make them available to do either non-commercial or commercial 30-second messages.
Oh, right.
So
I know
you
what
could
you're
have
talking
somebody
about.
say,
Videos,
"Hey,
too.
happy birthday, Joe Blow.
Right.
This is whoever wishing you a happy birthday."
And the reality is, with the
and that's like
Descript
$1,500
technology,
bucks.
right? With the Descript technology, they don't even have to record an individual.
Yeah. They don't, but I don't think they're that sophisticated, so they probably do it for real.
Their video.
And some people are
messages, I forget what
reasonably
it's called.
priced.
Yes.
They're maybe $500, for something like that.
For some,
But
it's
some
like
of
down to
them are
$50.
outrageous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
They're
the guy
like thousands for 30 seconds.
for the video thing, because this was video, the one I'm thinking of, but the guy that played Kevin from The Office was charging like $350, and he says he doesn't have enough time to do them all. He's made millions doing those little messages. Like, that's crazy.
He has a very peculiar voice.
Yeah, well, that's what you need, I guess. If you can have that.
If you have a generic voice, like if you have a voice like Bob Costas,
you're
not going to make much. It's a very normal sounding voice.
It's too Midwestern.
If you have a voice like Howard Cosell, you'd make some money.
Well, let me tell you what. This was a battle to the end. It's been a while since I've heard Howard.
Yeah, hit it.
You want to hit it again? Is that it?
No, hit it means hit the end of the show theme.
Oh, the theme for the end of the show. You want me to hit that?
Hit it.
This episode of Unrelenting brought to you by the Yukon Trading Company.